mentor of mine. He is the #1 income earner in all of the Northwest. He is an international trainer with WorldVentures. You got to be good to be able to do that. So we're going to be learning from the best tonight. His background is in real estate and mortgage. He's earned his $100,000 ring in here and $100,000 in a 12-month period. The thing I would tell you about this guy is he is one special person. He has mentored me. He has given me advice. He has helped me win. So anytime I get a chance to be in front of Mr. Buddy Buck, I always take notes and I always pay attention. So with that, Buddy Buck, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, John. How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for kicking this thing off. I know we got a lot of people already on, a lot of people joining. This is the most registered event that we've ever done via webinar. So congratulations to all of you that are a part of this. Just so we're not total strangers, I know John did a very gracious introduction of me. I'm very humbled by that. Thank you, John. And John, it's been incredible to work with you over the last couple of years and your family as well. So I saw WorldVentures, just so you know, a little over 8 years ago. Never done network marketing before. I've seen it a lot of times, but I just said yes. I plugged into the information, plugged into the training system, and really just became a student of this whole concept. And so when it came down to what we're going to share with you tonight, it was just something that just really spoke to me, because the first training that I ever went to for WorldVentures was actually in Columbus, Ohio. It was just about 8 years ago this month. And I saw a trainer on stage that trained on what we're going to teach on tonight. And in the last 8 years, I've probably only seen this done maybe once or twice personally. So it's just really cool to be able to kind of just bring it back full circle. And the purpose of tonight is going to be how to do an effective presentation, you know, live to your audience, whether it's a one-on-one where it's you showing a friend, whether it's a two-on-one where it's you and maybe your sponsor, the person that enrolled you, and sharing that with a guest. Maybe it's at a travel party or a launch party, depending on what you call those. When you have a bunch of your close friends come over to your living room, that's my favorite way to do the presentation. And then the final way could be maybe a big shot presentation where you've got somebody that's flown in from out of town, or maybe you're the big shot going out of state or out of your city to do a presentation for your team as well. So we've got a really special night tonight lined up for you, and it just got a lot better. Okay, so I get the privilege. We have a special guest. This wasn't promoted. This wasn't planned. Sometimes, you know, God just works in mysterious ways, and it's just all lined up tonight to have a special guest. So I get to introduce this gentleman. This guy I've gotten to know really well over the last 8 years. Just so you guys can really kind of understand his background, he was the first ever WorldVentures employee. Okay, so think about that. When WorldVentures launched December, you know, almost 11 years ago this year, coming December, he was the first employee. And I'm just looking at some of his bio. It's incredible. He worked with Wayne Nugent and Dan Stamen. Wayne Nugent is our Chief Visionary Officer. Dan Stamen's our CEO currently. I mean, these guys were here day one. He was working with them before WorldVentures ever launched. So that was cool. 7 years at corporate, he's worked there. He came out of the corporate atmosphere to build a team in WorldVentures. He's got a background in direct sales of about 17 years. So this guy's no stranger to this industry as well. Now, even though he's out here building in the field, this company has just been growing like a rocket ship, like literally, no hype, no BS, like look at the numbers and how much we've grown over the last, 11 years. So the company reached out to this guy and said, hey, would you mind coming back in just to help on the consulting level? So I know him and Jamie Young have been really intertwined as far as helping us take this company to the next level. This gentleman and Jamie Young as well, I want to give Jamie his props as well. But they've been very influential, and their projects, and you've seen these projects if you've been around this company for any length of time. Some of them include the quick coach videos. Okay, so that has been an awesome pillar for Team YOLO, and us building this. And obviously we have the quick coach videos on our team app. This gentleman's also the one that you will see on the last Saturday of every month on the WorldVentures YouTube channel. He is the host. He is the man, the myth, the legend on WV Live, basically our own new television program that we've got. And this last thing is my favorite. They came up and developed the idea, and this has probably been the most influential tool that I've ever seen in my 8 years. The You Should Be Here magazine, the YSBH magazine. If you got your hands on this at the last regional training event, which is our local training events that we do around the country and also internationally as well. But this tool sold out all over the country. This was one of the hottest tools I've ever seen, and probably will be for the future to come. So let's give it up for our special guest tonight. Team YOLO, you're in for a treat. Mr. Scott Caldwell. Take it away, brother. Gotta get you. There we go.
There we go. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm awesome, bro. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be a part of Team YOLO. Guys, I'm such a big fan of Buddy Buck. I just love this guy and love helping out anything we can do. And Jon Kellett, I'm actually staying with the Kelletts here tonight. I'm in Seattle visiting some friends and hanging out, and I was able to drop by and hop on the call here. So first, thank you so much for the warm introduction. I've gotten a chance to work on a lot of really fun projects in the last year or so here, and I am out of my mind excited about this You Should Be Here magazine, guys. If you got a chance to pick one of these up, hopefully you already know. If you haven't, man, you need to find yourself some copies of these, because I think the power of this tool is just exceptional. I mean, every single new customer you enroll should be able to walk home with one of these. That's something they can have to look at after they've made their buying decision. Something they can show their spouse. I mean, so often you get someone makes a purchase and they go home and they're trying to explain it to friends and loved ones, like, what did you get? There's trips and stuff I don't really know. And now this magazine is such a professional tool that they can share what it is they've made a purchase for. Great thing about it too, you can use it as a leave behind for some people who are on the fence. If someone's just sitting down with you and they're not sure they want to do it, they're like, let me talk to my spouse, or let me think it over and get back to you tomorrow. You can hand it to them and say, here, well, take this with you. So often you get the question like, well, do you have anything I can take with me? And now you do. And the great thing about it is it walks you through all 3 tiers of the membership, talks about the perks, the benefits, I mean, everything that Dream Trips is all about. And I think it's such a powerful tool. But not only that, I think it's a great tool for anyone you've actually signed up in the last 6 to 9 months. I mean, I think the pro move is you give one of these to everyone you've enrolled in almost the last year even, whether they're active or not. If you haven't talked to them in a little while, it's such a great icebreaker. Hey, Bill, I know you signed up for Dream Trips a few months back, and man, we just came out with this great piece that really encapsulates all the membership, and I just want to make sure you're getting the most value out of the membership as possible. Would you mind if I drop by? And I think buying a 10-pack and passing those out to the people that you've signed up, if even 1 or 2 of them takes a trip as a result of it, if they have it sitting on their countertop and spouse comes home and says, hey, is this that thing that you bought from Buddy a few months back? If that causes one of them to upgrade their level of involvement, get more engaged, I think it's just such a huge win. And so right now they're available on wvgear.com, but then they also are going to be at the September RTEs coming up, as well as then at the View. So if you haven't got a chance to do that, definitely make sure you pick some of those up. So I want to talk about that for just a quick second, but now shifting gears to the main reason you're all here at the presentation. Jamie and I and the team have been working hand in hand with the leaders in the field on this project for almost a year now. I mean, it's been over 9 months. This project has been gestating, and it's such a big project and a big milestone for the company, because right now we've been in a world where there hasn't been a unified presentation. And depending on which market you go on, and even which travel party within a given market, I mean, it was the Wild West. You had people that had Frankensteined and cobbled together presentations from 5-6 years worth of slides, just kind of piecing them together as they went. So things didn't match. They weren't all on brand. You'd have like 4 different versions of our logo in it. Trips that we hadn't offered in 4 years. I mean, just really random kind of hodgepodge of slides. And the great thing about this presentation is, one, just professional level. I mean, it is polished to a T. It is on brand. It ties in with all the website and everything else that we're doing from a look and feel standpoint. So just the professional level, professionalism that you're going to get out of using this presentation, I think is huge. The other thing about that too is, if you've been around WorldVentures for very long, one of the things you'll find out is we are all about, trust and transparency and compliance. I mean, we want to operate a company that is going to be around for the duration. We don't want to be a flash in the pan. We don't want to be a good 5-year run or even a good 10-year run. I mean, we want to be the Mary Kay of travel, as Wayne has often talked about. And in order to do that, you've got to monitor the little stuff. You got to make sure that we're in compliance with both state and federal regulations. We're presenting our business and our membership in an honest and ethical and forthright manner. And so this presentation has been scrubbed to make sure that it is presenting us in an optimal light and doing it with all the proper disclaimers and all the fine print that needs to be there. Everything about the membership that we need to share is in there. And so you can feel confident using this presentation that we've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, and that you are representing WorldVentures in the most ethical, most straightforward format possible. Now, the cool thing about this presentation too is I think it's really going to have a massive impact as we get more and more adoption here moving forward of speeding up the business. One of the big challenges too for people as you start to build a team that starts crossing borders, and whether that's county lines, state lines, or even all across the country, the great thing about this presentation is that you have the peace of mind that any guest you're working with, any prospect, any member of your team in any market can walk into the same presentation and see the same slides. That's huge. The fact that they can have any questions and you know how to answer them because you've seen the presentation. You don't have to worry that someone saw a presentation 4 states away from a leader you don't really know very well who happened to be in town, and it's a slide deck you've never seen and they're sharing information or showing a slide and you don't even know what they're talking about. The great thing about this presentation is you have that peace of mind. Now, the analogy I use at the end of Finding Nemo, when all the fish start swimming together at the end, they just blow out the net because the power of them moving in the same direction, the same velocity, is just infinitely more powerful than when they're all swimming in different directions. And so I think it's a really huge thing for the company and a big milestone. And so that's kind of the ideology behind it. Now, to make the transition as smooth as possible and to help understand that everyone has their own kind of styles, we've come up with 3 types of slides for the presentation here. And Buddy will throw that up here in a second. You got your mandatory slides, your optional slides, and your elective slides. And the way to understand that is mandatory slides, this is kind of the core elements of WorldVentures and Dreamtrees. This is like if you stripped away everything, this is the bare minimum of information that we feel communicates our value proposition, communicates all the necessary information for someone to make an educated buying decision. And so the mandatory slides have the little lock icon in the corner, and they're designed so that you know that every single one of those needs to be covered in the presentation. Then once we move to the optional section of slides, those it's kind of a choose your own adventure. You got like an A or B, or in some cases A, B, or C options. So they're in the way those were designed is we have different pockets in the field, different teams, different groups that kind of like to present certain ways. And to honor that as best as we could, we came up with these optional slides. So for instance, the compensation plan, you might see some people really like to show the binary. Some people are really a big fan of the new bucket version of the slides. So when you see the optional little gears in the corner, that's your cue to say, okay, I got to choose one or the other of these. And then when you get to the elective slides, these are some other slides that some people love to share, some people not so much. Some people are going for as short and as fast of a presentation as possible. Some people have a little more time. Some people are more attached to ones than the others. So the elective slides, a little eyeball on it, that's 100% up to you. So if you like it, if you think that it adds value, if you think it helps you close some sales, then great, use them. If not, no problem, you can hide them from the presentation. Now, the great thing about it is we've now put out the presentation in the back office. We have access to all the approved slides. So there's a master slide deck of every slide that is currently approved by WorldVentures. So starting with this new presentation, the request, the directive to the field is you've got to discontinue all old presentations. If it's not in this master slide deck, it is not eligible to be used. Now we might add to this as we move along here, as we continue to work in partnership with the top leaders, all the IMDs and the PAC team and that kind of thing. But for the time being, these are the approved slides. But to make it even easier for you, we've come out with 2 things. We've got a standard version, kind of a default version that's going to be in the back office. So if someone's an orphan, if they don't have the benefit of YOLO leadership, if they're removed from a major team, they can go into the back office and download it and can still give a concise presentation. But we also are relying on leaders like Buddy to actually put together what they feel is kind of the best presentation that aligns with the way they've been presenting historically, the way they would like to present, and kind of their personal preferences. And then they will then package that presentation up and share that with the field. So that's what this presentation is all about. This video that you're watching here, this conference call. Buddy has actually taken that master slide deck and assembled what he believes is the optimal YOLO presentation. So he's going to go through that here in just a second. Definitely want to encourage you to take that, download it, make it your own. But again, the great thing about this presentation is that if as you continue to grow and develop as a leader, if there's slides that you want to move around, if you want to add something in or something like that, that is an option. Now, the thing is, you can't create your own slides. That's the one caveat to this whole thing. There's no creating your own slides anymore, but of the ones that are approved, you're welcome to kind of remix them to the tune that you want. So that's pretty much it for me. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Buddy. Is there anything else you need? Any other questions you have for me, Buddy, while I'm here?
No, man, I think we're great. I think we've been blessed for the last 5 minutes that we got some Scotty Caldwell time, and we get to fear the beard.
I appreciate you having me, man, and I'm so excited to support Team YOLO, and you guys are just killing out here. So if there's anything I do to be a resource, thank you for your support, and thanks for watching WV Live.
Right on. Yep, WV Live, baby. Go tune in. All right, cool. So I'm going to jump off my video, and let's just jump right into the information here, guys. I may put my video on from time to time, but again, for the sake of the recording as well, we just want to keep this thing clean and streamlined. So you can actually go download right now, or as soon as we're done, just make a note of this, YOLOpresentation.com. That'll take you to our Dropbox for our team. So Dropbox is basically just a cloud storage program. If you haven't heard of Dropbox, they have a free version. You can go sign up. I'd highly recommend that you have a little free version of Dropbox anyways. So definitely you can go there, download this exact presentation that we're going to go through right now, and you can download it in Keynote. You can download it in PowerPoint, and then you'll see there's another audio right there, and I'll just kind of address that right now. So what we decided to do, and again, getting together with the leaders of the team, Jason Chorak, Rochelle Chorak, RJ, the Hankins, Larry, there's several people that have had their input on, what we feel is a good streamlined presentation. But I loved how Scott said, man, as you grow into this, you'll be able to, use your own creativity and flexibility with inside of the company regulations. And just understand this. The reason the company has done this and taken so long and so much time and really poured so much of their heart and soul into getting this presentation done is so that this company exists in 100 years from now, 200 years from now, right? So our kids can basically benefit because this company is protected the house. We're completely compliant to the best of our ability, and that's what I love about this company is they're always looking at it for long term. What's the best for the company long term? So what we decided to do is on the very first slide, which I'll show you in just a second, there's going to be an audio. We had our DJ. Okay, we have a DJ that runs our events up here in the Seattle, Washington regional trainings, the RTEs, for the veteran people. And she put together 2 30-minute clips of a bunch of popular songs, top 40 music kind of songs that are upbeat, have good energy. So there's 2 30-minute songs. And you can actually go listen to those 2 30-minute songs. And each 30-minute clip has about, 10 or 15 different songs kind of mixed into it. But it's one 30-minute continuous loop. And so when you do the social of a travel party, so 30 minutes prior to the presentation, there's always like a meet and greet or a social. I want you guys to really, as the presenter, see, I'm talking to each one of you as the presenter. You are no longer, for this moment, for this presentation, for this webinar training, you are no longer the person in the audience bringing a guest. You can be the presenter bringing a guest, but from the mindset for right now, you are the presenter. So for the 30 minutes prior to the presentation, I'm going to actually click my video on because this is super important. So let's just say the travel party starts at 7 o'clock. At 6:30, for the next 30 minutes, your role in this is to learn every single one of the guests' names and as much about them as you can. Now, if there's only a couple people, it should be very easy. you should figure out a lot about those guests. So the 30 minutes is not just a meet and greet BS kind of hangout. Your role as the presenter is to go learn each one of the guest names so you can, use their names during the presentation. That engages them, that shows them that you've paid attention and that you care about them as well. So, but the 30 minutes, that's why the song is 30 minutes, because when you get to that first slide and you click the clicker, and this is a version of a clicker, you click the clicker and the 30-minute song starts to play. The reason we put that 30-minute song on the first slide is because several times when you go do a travel party in someone's living room, which again is probably the most popular way to share the information, and if you haven't had a travel party, you need to get one scheduled like tonight, ASAP, with the person that enrolled you. But that 30-minute time, a lot of people don't have a playlist. Their playlist is like, maybe they like classical music, which would put everybody to sleep kind of thing. Maybe somebody's music is too over the top with too much cursing or whatever it might be. So we just put that 30 minutes right on the first slide, just for, that's one less thing for the person hosting the travel party to think about. So that's why we put that on there. And every time, whenever, Team YOLO and our leaders, whenever we're teaching anything, we always want to teach, not just here's what to do, boom, 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 but here's why you should do this. And we want people to really understand it so y'all can be a part of the greater good with what's going on. So we will add a PDF version, which is Adobe Reader, so that'll work on all platforms as well. But for now, you have PowerPoint and you've got Keynote. If you have a Mac computer, I recommend using Keynote whenever possible. I just feel like Keynote works really, really well. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I want to let you know that on our Team YOLO app, which you can go download free at the App Store, on the Team YOLO app, there's two basically versions of the 3-step setup. One is the quick coach version that I already told you. Scott Caldwell had his hand in producing and putting that together for us. Basically, the 3-step setup is what to say before you go do the presentation, right? Now, if you're the presenter at a travel party, each one of the reps in the room, before you start the presentation, each one of the reps in the room should go to their guests, depending on how many they have, and tell their specific guest what's their 3-step setup. Here's why hey, what you're about to see, here's why I'm doing it, I'm all in. That you can go watch the videos. I'm not going to train on the 3-step setup, but I want you to know that whenever I do a presentation or whenever I'm going to go do a travel party for my new person, I will not do a travel party at someone's house unless they've listened to the 3-step video on the left and the 38-minute audio that Scott Ross did, who's an international marketing director, and really came up with the concept of the 3-step setup. Because what I found is when my people that are hosting the party, the host is the new person that has the friends come over to their house, right? When they listen to that, and it takes about 45 minutes to listen to both of these, they are rock solid when we do that. When they introduce me and when they set up the presentation, because I could go through all these slides all day long and teach you, and here's what to say, and here's all this, and here's why this slide's in here, and I'll do that tonight. That's the point of this. But I want you to understand that many times the presentation is like just information. It's the filler. The reason why your friends are going to join is because how well you do the 3-step setup prior to the presentation starting. So I want to make sure you guys know that. You can go listen to those. So let's jump right into it. So the first slide, since we technically can't edit inside of the presentation, we just put our picture up in the front. Everybody likes the picture. We love the San Francisco Bridge too, which is the next one. So let's just jump right into the first locked slide. So if you look in the bottom right hand corner, like Scott was talking about, the locked slides, you cannot, for no reason, you cannot delete a locked slide. So this is the first official slide of the presentation. And now jumping right into the presentation. And again, I'm going to go over a lot of these fairly quickly, and you can go back and watch this again. But really, I just kind of like to, know the 3-step setup's been done properly. And now, as the presenter, again, the mindset of the presenter tonight, you wanted to start and cast the vision. So when I'm doing this slide right here, I talk about how all of these companies have basically just taken their industry and just changed it just a little bit. So if I'm, showing you what I do in front of the room, and again, having done this for 8 years, my presentation, I've gotten this down pretty good over the last 8 years, but I just say they didn't reinvent those industries. What they did do was they just took the industry and they just changed it just 1 degree, right? They just took the industry and changed it just a little bit, like Skype did the long distance. And you can read the slides on here, so I'm not gonna read every single thing on the slide. And just understand this: the thing that WorldVentures really did and took a lot of time and due diligence is when let's just say you have the PowerPoint presentation up. Now I have the ability of having 2 screens at my house. So on one screen is what you guys are seeing, but on my other screen, I can see the presentation and I can also read the notes. WorldVentures took the time to put notes on why that slide is in the presentation. So again, I might go over these at a very high level because I know when you go download the presentation, you can go read all the cliff notes that WorldVentures put in there for you guys. So talking about the old nightmare, basically the idea behind this slide, and again, I'm not speaking for WorldVentures, I'm speaking for Buddy Buck. I'm speaking for, why I believe these slides are in here, because again, you can go read the notes WorldVentures put in, but I'm gonna tell you my version of it. Really, when we're starting the presentation, what we're doing is we're finding some pain. See, people buy things not for pleasure, but to solve an issue of some pain. So in this example, wasting a tremendous amount of time on a computer, staring at it, going cross-eyed, trying to find a flight that costs $12 cheaper on 20 different websites. Like, we don't have to do that anymore. So basically you're letting the audience know, like, hey, you're really relating to the audience. You're really finding some common ground and a connection with them, like, hey, me too. Anytime you're presenting and the audience in their mind is thinking, oh, me too, oh, me too. It's like, you can only speak from experience. So what I used to do is go to Orbitz and Travelocity and Kayak and all these different websites, and I would spend all this time and I would waste staring at my computer trying to find the best deal. When come to find out, the prices are very similar and it was a lot of waste of my time. Can anyone relate to that? And so whenever I'm, asking a question, and so whenever you're asking a question as a presenter, make a note of this. Always ask yes questions. So what I mean by that is, like, let's just say we're talking about, has anybody spent a lot of time, wasting time trying to find a good price online? Whenever you raise your hand in the front of the room, the audience will naturally copy you. They're going to mirror you. So always ask a yes question. And you've always, spent a lot of time wasting trying to find the best deal, right? These tie-down questions at the end that are like a head nodder, like a yes question. Always ask a yes question, because if you don't ask a yes question, and it's going to be, the room's going to be silent. The room's going to be dead. It's going to be flat, and it's going to be awkward. Okay, so always ask yes questions. Moving along here, this is an elective slide that we chose. And really, this is kind of interesting because I haven't done this for like almost 8 years, because the presentation just wasn't really conducive to do this. I love putting the price out there. Now, some people, you might go, ooh, I don't want to do that. It's an elective slide. You don't have to do that. I'm just telling you, over the last like 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I've been really pouring out and testing this slide deck, I've gotten so much positive response by just letting the guests know. Number one, the guest typically doesn't know why they're there. They maybe come to somebody's home. Maybe they didn't know them too well, or whatever the case may be. So they've got their guard up a little bit. So I like to just tell them, hey, look, I like to just be totally transparent with you guys. Because a lot of times when people are at these presentations, The whole time the person in the front of the room, you, is speaking, they're wondering one thing. How much is this going to cost me? How much? It looks cool, but how much is this really going to cost me? So if they're sitting here worried about the price, they're not going to maybe catch a hold of a different, you know what I mean? Excuse me, I had a little pop-up on my screen. But they might not pay attention to something that you're saying that was really, really important. So I want to make sure that I like to put the price out there. Again, it's $100, $200, $300 to get started. And I did this last night, and I tell everyone, okay, everybody in the audience, take a deep breath. And everyone took a deep breath, and I said, okay, everybody smile. Cool, now we can watch this with an open mind and an open heart. Okay, so just something like that. You can kind of, again, read the different things. I'm not going to go through every single bullet point, but basically on this slide, we just want to set up, I always say, let's set up how we get the pricing, the margin versus the membership. And again, the notes WorldVentures put in here are incredible, so I'm not going to read those, but you can go read why to say the margin versus the membership and the biggest difference between the two. So this is a very quick slide. Really, it's just, hey, stress-free vacations. But I really like this slide personally because it shows that the company's been around for 10 years. So really from jump, you're really letting your audience know that, hey, this company didn't just get started. Like, this is something that's proven. We're now in over 27 countries. So you really add credibility and value to the actual company before we jump into it. I do like to put in one, not two. There's two. I think two is overkill personally. I think they get it. Showing the old way versus the new way. And if you ever see me do it, you know, live with an audience and all that good stuff, I always love to get audience participation. I love to get audience participation. And the reason why is the more engaged they are, right? So if you can get them raising their hand early, whoever's introducing the first speaker or this, you know, the person presenting, like to get that energy up right away, that makes a big, big difference. So when we're talking about the old way, I have everybody say, old way, and it's like, you know, they all, you know, laugh or whatever it might be. And then I show, okay, but here's the new way with us. Assuming everything was the same view, same days, same everything, you know. And again, write this in your notes right now, what I'm about to tell you. Under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver. Always do this, okay? So the reason we want to do that, some people say, oh, well, this trip, you saved $1,000. See, I'm looking at that in the audience going, that ain't $1,000 savings. That's like 900 and something, right? So again, just our truth is good enough. WorldVentures truth is good enough. Every slide in here is good enough. You don't need to round up or exaggerate anything. Under promise and over deliver. So now, when I show this, one thing I love to say on this slide is, if this were true, would you abandon the old way forever? Basically, you're asking the audience, if you had a choice, would you rather save $900 on your next vacation? And the answer is, of course, yes every time. Again, always asking those yes questions. So dream trips, we've already set up the pricing. They already know everything. This is a very short slide. I just say dream trips right here, and I say, let me jump into this. And the reason I set up the pricing is I always like to tell them, hey, look, when you see these prices, if you're anything like me, remember, relating again to your audience, if you're anything like me, you're going to see these prices and your faces are going to do some weird things. You're going to be shocked. We're going to get some big eyeballs. We're going to get some open mouths. We're going to, you know, just some people going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And then you show them some of the prices and you'll look out in the audience and you'll see people reacting to the low, low price of a dream trip, which is really, really fun. Now, I only put in, you know, half a dozen or, you know, something like that slides as far as the trips go. Again, there's a ton of trips, but again, they don't need to see a ton of trips. They just need to get an idea. They need a little variety. So whenever we're talking about something, I always like to have one that I've been on or something similar to something I've been on. Like this dream trip to Nuevo Vallarta, we'll be going back for our 10th time. Now, if you've got people in the audience that you know have been on one of these particular trips, as the presenter, have these people programmed and ready to give a 29 or a 20-second testimonial. We're not going to do testimonial training, but if you have, as the presenter, you are running the show. You are controlling the tempo of the night. You're controlling how long the presentation goes. By the way, making your notes, the presentation, if you did it absolutely spot on, it'd be like if you could get close to 30 minutes, that's like everybody's paying attention the whole time. If you go over 30 minutes, like let's call it 45 minutes, what I would say should be the absolute maximum length of any presentation. If you go 45 minutes, you better be dang good. You better be super entertaining. You better be able to hold an audience. Now, if you're brand new and you go a little bit long on your first couple or whatever, okay, cool. You're gonna have to work through some of this and a little trial and error and just go mess it up. That's cool too. But again, if you're shooting for a target, I'd say 30 minutes is a target, 45 absolutely on the long side of the presentation. So again, just talking about a little bit of variety, make a note of this. As a new presenter, do not read every single thing on the slide. Give your audience some credit. They know how to read, okay? So I just say, when in doubt, if you're like, oh my gosh, I do not know what to say on this slide, read one thing and click the button. Read one thing and click the button. So it's like, oh, Maui, this is an awesome trip. Click. Oh my gosh, the Caribbean, wouldn't that be amazing? Click. You see what I mean? So just again, when in doubt, remember this, your audience doesn't know if you're doing a good job. If there's some leaders in the room that can help you, of course, they can coach you a little bit afterwards or whatever. But I'm saying the only way a guest will know that you suck or you're nervous or you forgot something is if you tell them. So when in doubt, click the button and move on. So what I wanted to do, I want to go ahead and launch a poll. So we're going to get a little interactive here so I can kind of see who our audience is. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll for just about 60 seconds. So there's two questions on this poll. The first one is, have you ever done a live WorldVentures presentation before, yes or no? And number two is, how do you think you did for your first time? Okay, so go ahead and start answering. If you don't see the poll, you can just move your mouse around and go ahead and find it. So it looks like there's several people that have given this a shot or done this once or twice. We're going to let the poll run for about another 30 seconds as well. So the answers on number two are really funny. Number one is awesome, I nailed it, my first presentation. The second one was terrible, I wanted to cry. The third one is terrible, and I swore I might never do the presentation again. And the last one is, I did okay for my first time, understanding that I gotta get uncomfortable to be able to grow in my life and obviously as a future presenter. So we'll just leave this up for another like 5 or 10 seconds, and then I'll go ahead and end the poll. Got several people contributing, appreciate you guys. We'll go ahead and shut the poll down in 3, 2, 1. Cool. So here are the results. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and just read the results to you. So have you ever done a live presentation? So for tonight's audience, 76% of people have done a presentation before. So that's really cool. Congratulations to you guys for getting out there. And 26% haven't. That's okay too, because a lot of people might be brand new, or you're on here figuring out if this is something you want to do. Now, this is my favorite part. How did you feel you did the first time? 11 people said they nailed it. Those are the reds. Terrible, I wanted to cry. Those are the yellows. Terrible, I swore I'd never do it again. 13%. Let me just actually go ahead and share these results with you. I'll put it up on your screen. But again, all of the answers are good answers. There isn't a right or a wrong. Because if you're good, cool, keep doing it. And if you're terrible, then you're going to be great if you keep going. My first presentation I ever did was at my sister's house. My mentor, Dave Baird, he's a regional marketing director, just an amazing guy. He flew up from California. Imagine this. My mentor flew up from California, and he basically said, hey, you know, you got a packed house tonight. We're at my sister's. There's like, 20 people there or whatever. And he pulls me in the kitchen right before we're going to, go up and, I'm going to introduce him. And he goes, hey, good news. You're going to do the first half of the presentation tonight. So this is, again, another option for you guys is you can cut this up into two parts. The first half being the product offering, the membership, and the second half is like a transition, and you can do the business presentation. Now several people decide, hey, I want to do everything. That's cool too. Well, when Dave said I was going to do the first half, I didn't want to do everything. I didn't want to do anything. I did not want to speak in public. I was very nervous. I was scared. I was pissed off at him. I pulled him outside and, we had some words, and I was like, why did you fly up from California if I'm going to do the presentation? They didn't come here to see me. They came here to see you. And so there was an awesome lesson I learned that day. There's one thing to get really good at being the presenter, but do you want to be presenter man or presenter woman? Or do you want to give your new people a chance to step up, get uncomfortable, so they can essentially go out and start, being their own person, and your team will grow much, much faster in the long run. So it's really this kind of tactical versus strategic, as Scott would say, kind of mentality versus, so the mindset is, do I want to do the presentation again for the 50,000th time because we really need to get these two people enrolled that are in the audience? Or do I say, hey, this is an opportunity at a travel party, not a big shot. I'm not talking about a big shot presentation where everyone's, looking for the leader to come in and crush the presentation. I'm talking about the in-home travel parties. Am I going to potentially sacrifice these two guests from seeing me do the presentation for the 50,000th time to give my new person a chance to step up and go do the presentation, or at least half of it? I'm always going to give that person that room to grow, because long term, see, if Dave would have come from San Diego to Seattle and said, I'll be the presenter every time, every single time, well, then guess what? The sales would only have happened when Dave flew in from California. And if the sales only happen, and hear me very, very clearly on this, if the sales only happen when you are there presenting, that ain't good. Okay, that is not what we're looking for. Now, if you just want to be important and be presenter person, go for it. But if you want to build a big team, you've got to give people an opportunity to be able to, and now it doesn't have to be, hey, you're doing the presentation tonight, John, you've been in for 4 days, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody that's been around a little bit, they've seen enough. Maybe you just have them do the introduction. Maybe you have them talk about one particular slide. Maybe you say, hey, John, tonight you're going to talk about the skiing and the snowboarding slide. Or, hey, John, maybe you're going to talk about the Dubai slide tonight. Or, John, maybe you're a sports guy, so why don't you talk about the sports dream trips? Just give them a little something to start with, okay? And here's the most important thing. When somebody, write this down, when somebody does something new, they do something for the very first time, I do not give them any feedback other than high five, great job, super proud of you. I'm so proud that you stepped up and got uncomfortable tonight. I'm so proud that you just got up and did that introduction or did the first half or talked about that slide. Because if you start coaching people about, well, you did this wrong, and oh, we can get better on this and better on this, better on this, better on this, all you're going to do is just let them know, yeah, you did suck. Just like you thought you were going to be bad, you were bad. Do not overcoach people, especially in the beginning. Especially in the beginning. Just tell them, great job. Anytime anybody on your team does something new for the first time, like celebrate it, have fun with it. Tell them great job. Get other team members to give them a high five and give them public recognition. whenever somebody does the first half, like my friend Jon Kellett did the first half of the travel party at her house the other night, and guess what? A couple people joined. I said, hey, when she introduced me, I said, by the way, guests, everybody, can you believe that was her first time ever doing that presentation? The guests couldn't believe it, how good she was. Remember, the guests don't know if you're good or bad. They've never seen this before, so always remember that. So again, little variety on the trips. You've got the diving, you've got the platinum trip. So, you know, St. Lucia, you know, there's some platinum only dream trips. So we kind of touch on platinum. The WorldVentures Foundation. Again, you can just read a few of these bullet points off of here, but we always like to talk about the different types of trips. So you've got the party trip and the family trip, and you've got the cruise one, and you've got the one that, you know, the people want to give back and they want to help. And then you've got the welcome dream trips. Very quick note on the welcome trips. When we're looking at the pricing, the way that they're set up now, it doesn't matter what the welcome trips look like 2 months ago. So if you went to New York for $189 and had 19 different things added into it, hallelujah, your luck, good job. You got in on it, and that's cool. But again, remember, do you want the company to be here 100 years from now, or do you want a $189 trip to New York today and have the company not be around in 3 months? You know what I mean? So when it comes to the price points, the new members, they've already built it down so low, you cannot use points if you're a new member inside of 90 days. So when we're presenting this to the room, when you see the points, so that 50 points, the points can be applied if you've been in the company for 91 days or longer. So when you're seeing these different welcome dream trips, here's the New York one. It's $249 for 4 days and 3 nights. Like, it's awesome. But it's $349 for the old members, but they can use 50 points. Just so you know why they did that. They don't want the new members to have to waste their points on their first trip. Now they can go on a welcome trip and then still have their points that they use to join for the next dream trip, right? So when you're doing the presentation, I really hammer the welcome trips, because if we can just get them on a dream trip faster, my gosh, your retention, the number of people that will stay a customer will go through the roof. It's going to be awesome. So again, party trips, Disney trips, again, know your audience. You as the presenter, know your audience. Have your testimonials, 30 seconds or less, have them prepared before. Hey, JK, I'm going to call on you. Hey, John, I'm going to call on you. Hey, Rochelle. Hey, Andre. Hey, McKean, I'm going to call on you. And I want you to share your 30-second testimonial from this dream trip or that dream trip or whatever it might be, right? So we got to transition to gold. Cool. That was the basic membership. Now we're going to talk a little bit about gold. When it comes to the booking engine, again, there's a ton of great notes. There's a ton of great notes WorldVentures put in these slides. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm talking about Buddy's version of this. I don't spend a lot of time on this. Is it cool? Does Rovia work? Our booking engine, is it phenomenal? And do I use it every time? Yes, yes, and yes. But when I start talking about getting percentages back from hotel bookings and rental cars and this and that and the other, that's where all my questions came at the end of a presentation. Well, John, I mean, I see that I could live an amazing life and go work hard and build a big team and, you know, have this incredible life. But what is the percentage back when I go to Alamo and rent a car? Who freaking cares? When I get people that ask me that, I know I just said way too much. Remember the under promise, over deliver mindset? Here's what happens to me now. I might touch on rate shrinker. I might touch on one thing that I really identify with on the booking engine, and then that's it. Because I'd rather have somebody go book a hotel room and get some Rovia bucks back, and then call me and go, hey buddy, did you know that I booked a hotel room and I got like $6 to go on my next vacation? And I'm going to go, oh my gosh, yes, I did. You know what I mean? I want them to be like excited and surprised and happy, because again, if you start talking about every little detail, your presentation will be an hour and a half and you will have lost everybody in the room. Okay. So again, maybe have a good testimonial for the dining and have a good testimonial for the shopping. So have some people lined up, the concierge service. When we're talking about these extra services from the front of the room, it's just that we're adding value to the already amazing dream trips. See, dream trips is the bread and butter. We're adding value to that. Now the dining and entertainment, really cool. You want to touch on this, have a story. If somebody's used the dining program, then have them share a quick story. Donna Angevine, I had her do this last night. She told a quick story when she was in Miami. She got a certain amount of points back. Thanks, WorldVentures. And the audience was like, wow. And here's what's cool. As the presenter, when you call on people from the front of the room that are prepared, your event runs real tight. Your travel party runs real smooth, but it also gives you a nice 20, 30-second break. Take a sip of water, get your thoughts together. It is nice to not have to talk for 30 minutes straight, right? When it comes to the smart card, is it awesome? It is. This thing is really cool, but this isn't WorldVentures. The next ID in the smart card, it is incredible. I love it. I think it's going to be fantastic addition. Notice, addition to the already robust membership. I mean, this is, again, just a little cherry on top. I don't want to make the whole presentation about the smart card because, again, I don't want to overpromise what the smart card is or isn't going to do. I want them to join because, we're filling a need. Because, I told somebody, hey, listen, on your existing budget, we can show you how to go create those peak life experiences with your family. It's not like the smart card. I don't want the smart card during my presentation to like overshadow the dream trips, right? Dream trips is our bread and butter. This one's just a quick recap. Just kind of like, hey, quick recap. There's lots of ways to earn points to be able to, use towards your future vacation. Keyword, earn. Earn your way. Never a free vacation, okay? We don't want to say free. Nothing's free. You earned it, right? So make sure you're using the good language on that. When it comes to the recap, I just tell them, hey, look, here's a quick recap. Remember I showed you the prices in the beginning? Everybody hold up, and I do this at every single one of my travel parties. I say, everybody in the audience, remember that whole, at this point, you've probably been talking for 20 minutes, so you want to kind of re-engage everybody. Everybody hold up 1. Everybody say 1. Everybody say 2. Everybody say 3, right? So I always do 1, 2, 3, and that's the initiation fee to get started. $100, $200, $300. So again, on the Platinum, you'll notice there wasn't a lot of different slides and a lot of different points on the Platinum. So this is a great slide to point out some of the features of Platinum. Another awesome thing that you can do from the front of the room to start promoting the tools is very simply right here. We get our You Should Be Here magazine. I do this at every single travel party, and I hold the magazine up and I say, look, on page 25, it's got all of the features of the Platinum membership. And you might just sit here with the magazine in front of everyone and go, look how simple. I love the word simple. Look how simple this is. You don't need to know everything I'm saying. You don't need to remember all this. You don't need to do the presentation in front of the room guests if you don't want to. You can just simply know that if you turn to page 25, you can read all about the Platinum membership. And if your guest has a question about, well, what's included with Gold? Cool, page 21. Dream Trips Gold. They can read all the benefits that are included. That's why I believe that tool is absolutely a game changer and revolutionary. Earning the points, we kind of understand that. But here's what I want to point out on this slide. Again, these are all in the notes, but this is really important. They moved the refer for and pay no more away from the price point. If you'll notice that. It used to actually be, if we go back one, they used to put the refer for, pay no more on the pricing slide. They moved it to the referring the friends part. Here's why. Too many people Or like when they're talking about the membership and platinum, maybe it's, you know, $300 one time, $100 a month. And they're like, but you can refer 4 and pay no more. Oh, but you know 4 people, don't you? 4 people would do this, so you won't have to pay. So you won't have to pay. Don't worry about it. If I had to pay $99 for the platinum membership and refer 4, pay no more did not exist, I would be a member over and over and over again. From the front of the room, you have to have so much posture. This membership, whatever you choose, basic, gold, or platinum, if you paid the monthly every single month, it is worth it. There is a tremendous amount of value, even if you're paying the monthly. Too many of you are going out and you're like trying to defend, oh, but we could get it free. Oh, but we could get it free. That's a weak mindset. It's a weak posture. Who cares? If you can get it free, that's a bonus. But if you paid for it, it is the most incredible value in the travel business today, in my professional opinion. Even if I paid, I would be a member of this company all day long. That's why they moved that. So again, it's not like an oh, by the way, but they just wanted to disconnect the price versus to get it free. So I hope you really caught that. That's in the notes as well. Just a quick recap on the points. Just make sure they know whatever they spend, they're going to get back on the product, okay? They even put the refer 4 on there again. I don't really mention it again. Now, this is kind of where the transition happens. So basically, you just show really quickly, hey, there's over 1 million members worldwide. It really just validates that, you know, hey, look, over 1 million people have said yes to what you're going to see, or what you already saw, really. And so when you join, you're not weird for joining. 1 million other people did it too, right? So sometimes people are looking around going, hey, am I the weird one? No, 1 million other people said yes too. We showed this one at Sean's travel party the other night. The gal in the audience that joined, she's like, man, 3 of those things on the bucket list are on my bucket list. So you can just talk about, hey, look, it's time. Get your little blue sign. You know, always have a little blue sign with you wherever you go as well. And then right here, make a note. Hot air balloon is the transition slide. Now, if you were breaking this up into 2 halves, first half, product, membership, transition, introduce a different speaker perhaps, and now we're going to talk about the business. You've got to make it crystal clear. You can be a member of Dream Trips, basic, gold, or platinum, whatever makes sense for you and your family. And you can be a member and not do the part we're going to talk about next. Technically, they could not do either, right? So you could be a member and not the business part. You could do the business part and not the membership, or you could do both. It's totally up to them. So when you're making this transition, sometimes the presenter, you know, does the whole thing. Sometimes you'll do the first half and the back half. I actually prefer that unless I'm training and grooming somebody new. So like when Sean and I did this the other night, she did the first half. And again, did she miss some things and make some mistakes? Of course she did. She's brand new. I mean, I made mistakes on this thing for a year. You know what I mean? So that's okay. Because the person that goes on the second half, if you're grooming somebody new, which you should be all the time, you can go clean up the mess. And when I say clean up the mess, I don't mean, oh, hey, everybody, well, just, you know, Sean missed this part and Sean forgot to say this and boy, she really butchered that part. No, there is a professional way where you can go, hey, just a quick recap, Dream Trips is wholesale, da-da-da. You can kind of fill in as a quote unquote recap without putting your new person on blast and going, hey, you really sucked. Okay, so again, I like to do the whole thing unless I'm grooming somebody just because there's sometimes a better flow with it. So moving into the back half, and then we'll kind of bring this thing in for landing after we do the business part of this. But it just kind of, again, I don't read all this stuff. I just talk about timing in any business. Timing is very important in any business, especially this one. I like to mention home-based business. Home-based business is very popular right now. If you read, and if you haven't, go do this, the recent version, the latest issue, if you will, of Success magazine. If you're not a member of the Advantage program, log into your worldventures.biz back office, ID number, password, go sign up for the Advantage program. It is incredible. You get the company magazine, you get Success from Home magazine, but it talks about some very current, very relevant statistics that as a presenter, as you get better and you kind of get more comfortable, it gives you some current things that are happening in the world to show that you're a reader. Because if you're a reader, you're a leader, right? Or vice versa. Leaders read, and we're always kind of staying current on what's going on. So when it comes to this slide here, it's really about, hey, this company's rock solid, right? We're in the Inc. 5000. We're the number 32 direct selling company on the planet, and we're not even 11 yet. Like, casting the vision about this is how great we are today, and we're just 10 years old, 10 years young, however you want to say it. This is our corporate office, 100,000 square feet. You can read the cliff notes on this too. Now this one, it's a locked slide. Let's be real. I'll be very real with you. I don't like this slide. I mean, I'm not like, oh my God, what a great slide. This is so exciting. But I'm more excited about this company being around for the next couple hundred years than I am going, well, I don't really want to read all this. If I can read this 1,000,000 times and this company will be here forever, I'll start reading it tonight until I just can't say it anymore. This one, just read it to the audience and tell them, hey, look, I'm not going to read a lot of these, but here's why I want to, just read this particular one, because it shows that you can be totally transparent and say, hey, audience, we have some things, and I say this, we want to be ultra compliant. We want to make sure that when you join tonight, Johnny, that this company will be here when your kids have kids, etc. And you cast the vision, just tell the audience and let them be a part of it too. Just like we always teach our audience why, right? So very cool slide. Very important to know as a presenter. And again, I'm telling you a lot of this as a high-level experienced presenter. So if you just catch about 25% of the topic tonight of what's going on, you're going to be in really good shape. So this particular slide overcame an objection I had, because I thought if I joined a business, I had all these obligations and I have to go to all these events and these meetings and these trainings and these phone calls and these webinars. And I'm like, man, I don't have time for all that. You need to assure your audience that they know, hey, you guys can do this as little or as much as you want to. It's completely up to you. We're here to support you. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you can just tell people, listen, just communicate with us. How much time do you have? And we'll tell you what to do with that time to get you closer to your goals and dreams, right? So make sure they know they can choose how much they want to participate. The price, very simple. Obviously you're not going to talk about what it used to cost or anything like that. Well, it used to be $14.99 and now it's $20. None of that matters. Just know this: in the 8 years that I've been a member, this representative has only gone up $10 in 8 years. I mean, I still think it could be, and maybe even should be, way more higher monthly. I believe the value is there. Again, $20. Some people really look at that little amount of money that you spend to join as a representative, and sometimes they treat it like a $100 business. I treat this like $1 million business. Okay. So when it comes to this slide, really what this is saying, this is your chance as the presenter to go, hey, just so you know, all the scared people in the audience, right? You're not going to say that necessarily, but you're going to go, just so you know, breathe deep again. You don't ever have to stand up here and do what I'm doing. You don't ever have to stand up in front of the room with the clicker if you don't want to. You're going to have a video that you can play 24 hours a day. It's going to have your name on it. Now, if I find a guest in the room that I really connected with, I always pick on one person at least. Meaning, if I'm sitting here looking at the list and I say, John, and John and I have a connection, maybe my friend's like, hey, John could be really good at this. We got to get John in. whoever I want to join for sure that night, I always pick on them. Hey, John, listen to me, when you get started, write that down. When you get started. As the presenter, the more you say this, I probably say this 8 to 10 times during each presentation. Hey, John, when you get started, I'm subliminally like planting that seed that they're getting started, they're getting started, they're getting started. So I say, John, when you get started, your website will look just like mine. It'll look just like Tim's. It'll look just like Jenny's. It'll be john.worldventures.biz. You can play that video. We've got other tools. We've got audios. We've got DVDs. We've got Quick Coach. Our friend Scott Caldwell. I mean, like, the tools are incredible. The training system is incredible. So you just talk about this thing is a cookie cutter. This business, they don't have to spend a bunch of time figuring all this stuff out. They can simply plug into the system, the infrastructure that WorldVentures has set up, and that Team YOLO with our app and the Dream Trips app, everything is so tight. But edify the training. This is another great chance to get somebody new that's maybe been to their first ever training, and tell them ahead of time, not on the spot, ahead of time, hey, just so you know, Timmy, you're going to do a little 20-second testimonial on what was your favorite part of the training you just went to. Okay, so that's another opportunity. The income disclosure. Read this. You can read it fast, but read it. I tell people, look, bottom line is, this is not a get-rich-quick deal. Could be get-rich-quicker, sure, but I just say, listen, again, full transparency. When you're transparent with your guests, the trust level goes way up. On this slide, and you've got to be prepared. You as the presenter, it is not your job to make sure that you bring income disclosures for everybody, okay? Whoever is the host, maybe if it's their first time, you might help them out. But again, if you are showing up to an event as a guest and you don't have an income disclosure or an application, stay home. Just don't even bother. Like, you've got to be prepared. Do not ask the leaders. And leaders, okay, you're on here tonight learning how to be a better leader. Go present, get uncomfortable. Don't give your people that have been in WorldVentures a while, if they come up and say, hey, can I get an income disclosure? Nope, didn't bring one. Not for you anyway. You know what I mean? Because if you teach them, oh yeah, I'll always have your paperwork and I'll always have this for you and why would they ever learn to do that on their own? You're just going to cripple your team. Little side note there, but always be prepared. When it comes to all the fine print, you can just tell people, hey, look, you're going to get a copy of this at the end. Feel free to read it if that's something you want to read to make a few $100 decision. That's cool. I love the gym analogy on this slide. And I say, basically, look, it says about 22.2% of all the reps make money. 77% don't. And the more you learn these numbers so you don't have to look it and read it on the screen, the better you'll get. And that just takes time. But I say, listen, does everybody make money in this? No. And I kind of make a joke. Again, always try to find a chance to make a little joke and kind of break the ice, if you will. Have you ever known anybody that joined a gym that maybe never got in shape? Maybe they never got six-pack abs. Or you can maybe talk about yourself. I always talk about myself. Yeah, I joined a gym, but I didn't get in shape. What the heck? You know what I mean? Now, I don't say, oh, I don't blame the gym. So it really ties this analogy between they've got to go out and work this. This is not just sign up. This is not get lucky. You've got to go work this. It's okay to say the word work and say the words hard work, because anything worthwhile is worth working hard at. See, it's one thing to get good at something, but it's one other thing to get good at something actually worth getting good at. And that's WorldVentures. Okay, so we're going to the comp plan, and then we're going to be about wrapped up here. So when it comes to the comp plan, there are two choices. There's the buckets, and just so you know, I'm not going to show the buckets tonight. The buckets, you can go, see several different videos. There's bucket presentations all over the place. So I put those in the presentation that you can download at yolopresentation.com. We put those there for you to have that option. I'm going to show this comp plan because I think it makes more sense visually to the audience. I know for me, this is how I saw it. So again, whether it's right or wrong, there is no right or wrong. It's which one makes the most sense to you. And so when we've talked to the leadership of our team, we just had a big meeting this last weekend. This is what we came up with, right? It just makes more sense. So again, talking about it from the front of the room, you've got two teams. And I always visually want to cut the team in half so I can visually show the people in the audience what this looks like. And I might even pull a guest up to the front and say, this is your team, John. Again, remember the person that I'm picking on. I'll bring John up to the front of the room, and I'll say, when John tells his three best friends, and they become members. So it's important, very, very important, to make sure your audience knows that we only get paid if a person buys the membership, not if they become a representative. That doesn't pay us anything extra. Now, can the team grow faster because they can want to go out and make money and build this and sell more memberships? Sure. But we get paid on the membership. So again, just a quick recap. You refer 4, you pay no more. So this is where we teach. And again, you don't want to get into too much detail about, building strategy and all these different things. All you're going to do as the presenter is you're just going to confuse the crap out of the audience. Okay? So keep it simple. Just say, listen, this is what I tell people. As we enroll people together, we go out and show them together. You can go show some on your own, but in the beginning, you can leverage me. We'll go show them together. As we go enroll them, we'll teach you where to put your first couple customers and why. So then you'll understand it as we kind of do it together. So again, I love this because it shows the left team and the right team, and it shows the cycle bonuses. The one thing the bucket comp plan doesn't show is how you get paid on the cycles. And I think cycles is extremely important. I know when I saw this, I got extremely excited because I saw how big this could get without me. See, we just show, when we're doing the presentation, I show, let's make your money back. So visually, now I'm saying, maybe we don't put them in exactly like this, but if you did what I did 8 years ago, you put 3 on your left, 3 on your right, and if I was a gold customer and a representative, this would have put $80 in my pocket, and I would have no monthly fees. And that's all I wanted to do when I joined. So I just tell a little story. Now, if it's not your story, tell someone else's story. That makes sense with any of this compensation stuff. So when it shows how the team grows, see, you enrolled the colored members, the green, the purple, the blue, the red, right? Those are the ones you put in. But remember, John, it's not about you. You're in business for yourself, but this is a team effort. So they put in 1, they put in a couple. Every time on Friday night at midnight Central, the computer is going to track all this for you. They're going to say, how many groups of 3 showed up on the left? Customers. How many 3 showed up on the right? Customers. 3 left, 3 right, cycle. I like to snap every once in a while too. It kind of just brings it to their attention. So, and I'll get the audience to participate. I'll say 3 left, 3 right, and then they say cycle. I point at them. 3 left, 3 right, cycle. Every time that happens, whether you enrolled them or somebody else did. So you kind of just show them that this isn't like a sales thing. You don't have to go, the point of all this, it's not about you going and enrolling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people forever. This is not a job. It's about you kicking a domino and you casting that vision for the audience to show, hey, I don't know if I know 100 people, but I know 6. I know 4 or 5. And that's how this thing gets started. So as your team, grows by 12 in a calendar month, very important to note on this slide, calendar month, because all the other bonuses are paid on a rolling 28-day calendar from when your first sale went in. Again, you don't necessarily need to say all that, but this one, 12 gold customers, it says it right there, in a calendar month, right? Talks a little bit about residual. I love this, up to $500 a month residually at senior rep. SR audience means senior rep. You can see that on your income disclosure statement, etc. Again, read the show notes on this one. When you hit director, that means you have about 90 customers on each side. There's, one other thing you have to do to qualify for that. But roughly you can make up to $2,000 a month on that one. And again, you just kind of talk a little bit about residual, what that means. Again, the notes WorldVentures put in is incredible. This slide I like because it really just shows the visual. And I kind of reference back to, it's not about you. It's just you kick a domino. 4 or 5 people. Because if we're talking about thousands and thousands of people, a lot of people will freeze. A confused mind never buys. Write that down. A confused mind never buys. That's why you can simply, in many cases, you could do the presentation. I was just talking to one of our top leaders, Rochelle Chorak. She's a marketing director, total beast. She said, buddy, I'm starting to do the presentation with just the magazine. That new You Should Be Here magazine. She is not literally using her computer anymore or her phone. She might use her phone to show the dream trips if she wants to, but she doesn't have to. She's doing the presentation with the magazine. So you can literally just tell 4 or 5 people who tell a few, who tell a few, who tell a few, and you can show the residual, how you override all the volume for the dominoes that you kick over. So quick recap, customer level. Remember we said earlier, 1, 2, 3. Here's a quick recap. If you want, drive this point home, guys. Be very, 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 very clear. We can never say the words all in. All in assumes that they want to be a rep and a customer. That is not all in. That is very uncompliant. If you start to hear other people, if they say any of this stuff, buddy buck, I am personally giving you permission to go up to them after the presentation and politely tell them in their ear, not in front of everybody, hey, listen, we can't say these things. If you know for a fact that they said something that was going to get our company potentially in trouble, I don't care if you've been in for a week and I've been in for 8 years. If I say something, I want you to come up. Trust me, the leadership, the egos are on check, okay? We are here to protect the company. You got to come up and say, listen, yeah, you said all in. Oh, man, I got to remember. Okay, cool. I'll make a note. Like you're helping the leaders out, too. We got to hold each other accountable. It's not about tattling on somebody or getting them in trouble. Don't tell somebody else. By God, don't tell somebody else. Go up and have the you-know-what and just say, listen, tell the person to their face and say, listen, I heard something, just you may have not even noticed it. Because some of us have done these presentations for so long that there might be things that we're saying that might not be compliant, that we're just been used to saying for a long time. So quick recap, you can just be a customer or you can just be a representative. Refer for, pay no more, or you can simply choose to do both. So now, this is the last slide before the last slide, okay? So really kind of bring it all back. Now, it's very important. You as the presenter, make sure that you do a strong call to action. Now, if you don't know what a call to action is, basically you're gonna close the room. So don't just be there and be like, okay, cool, so we're done. Thanks, everybody. You just busted your butt and did a killer presentation. Whether you think you did great or not, it was awesome, okay? I'm telling you right now, especially new people, right? Good job, way to go, high five. At the end, you've got to tell the guests what to do. Your new team members, your new reps in the room that you just sponsored this week, they might have people there in the room. You might be in their living room. And if you go, all right, thanks for coming out. Good night. They're looking at you going, what? You have got to tell the guest what to do. Your new person is counting on you to help them close and get their new person started. And some people, they just need a push. So again, you can use this slide and be like, hey, remember, think about all the places you want to go. Like, come with us. Let's get started tonight. If you just want to be a member, come do that. Let's find a dream trip. Let's get you on something in the next 90 days. Let's get you on a dream trip this year. You haven't been on vacation in a while? I get it. Let's get you started and get you on a dream trip. You deserve it. Now, the other thing I might say too, this is the actual official last slide. Tell people, listen, here's what's going to happen. Your friend is going to hand you an application and a pen. The first thing it says is name. You don't need to stare at it weird. I make sure from the front of the room, I say, listen, the ending isn't weird. The ending's the best part. It's when you get to make a decision. You've got to tell the audience how to get started, because your new person might not know what to say. Your new person might have been in for a day or a week or a month, or haven't had a chance to get to an event yet because they're brand new to get trained. You have to be their rock. You have to be the one in the front of the room that says, hey, new person, here's what we're going to do when you get started. When you get that application or you log into the computer, just tell them yes or no. Yes is a great answer. No is a great answer. Just simply tell them yes or no. People are counting on you as the presenter, especially if you're the one closing it up at the end. You've got it. It doesn't have to be some big fancy motivational, like, you know, oh my God, standing ovation. It doesn't have to be that. But just simply tell them, what are we going to do to get this thing started? We've got a few questions that are coming in. What we're going to do, if you have questions, find the Q&A box down below. Type all your questions in right now. I know this is a little bit longer webinar, but that's just what it is. Okay, so that's why we recorded it. If you've got questions, don't raise your hand. If you did, cool. But just go simply type the questions in. John's going to be able to look at those with myself here in just a second. And I want to make sure that I'm getting all of your questions answered in this presentation. But before we stop the recording, I just wanted to point out a couple slides that we put behind the actual presentation. Okay, so when you're like, wait, there's more slides. After every, not some, after every travel party, every one-on-one, every big shot, do a fast start training. Do a fast start training. Take a 10 to 15 minute break. Make sure there's time for everyone to join. When people are joining, hey, Johnny just got started. Woo! I mean, get the excitement up. When people get started, get up, get excited. When Reagan last night says, hey, give it up, my boy Carlos just got started, and the room erupts. We get paid to be excited and have fun and welcome people. People want to feel like they're a part of something. So don't just be like, oh, is it okay if I like shout your name out? No, screw that. Yes, we're going to shout your name out. It's part of your initiation. Hey, everybody, welcome Ron to the team. Everybody screams. The more we band together and have excitement at our events, the more people are going to go, man, this feels good. I like this company. I like this team. YOLO's legit. Love it. On the YOLO presentation, the link.com, YOLOpresentation.com, that other audio that's in there, you can download it. If you don't have music to play after the presentation, which is very important, because there's nothing more worse than it just being dead silent, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's totally quiet. Download that audio, and you can drop it right on this slide right here. You simply just drag it and drop it right on your computer. So when you click it, so if I clicked one more time, another 30 minutes worth of music plays. So as the presenter, I don't have to, cue my host up and say, hey, Johnny, spin it, play the music. I control it with my clicker, okay? So again, I've got my clicker right here. I control it. I click one time and that music starts to play. Because again, I've done this long enough to where it's like, it's just one less thing to figure out. If I can have 30 minutes of songs on the front, 30 minutes of songs on the back, And as the presenter, I control the energy. That's what we ultimately want. One other thing too, go get you a clicker. If you don't have one, go get one. This one I love. I don't even know the brand, Logitech. It's got a little timer on it. I'll try to get the angle on it. So I can literally go here and I can just click a button and I can set it for, 30 minutes. Now it's gonna vibrate and kind of buzz in my hand when I go over my 30 minutes. Try to get the angle there. So 30 minutes, I can hit play and it starts to time and tick down. So it's really cool. It's a very subtle way. I think the clicker is 50 or 60 bucks, something like that. But it's a very subtle way to be able to, keep yourself on time, to know, oh my gosh, I got to pick it up or whatever it might be. Real quick on the fast start training, I always tell people, look, right now, do this now. Get your phones out. Give them a second. You come back from a 15-minute break after you enrolled everyone. Have your laptops there. Be online. Have the Wi-Fi code before it starts. Like, be ready to enroll people. Mentally, they're all going to join until they don't. They're all going to join until they don't. So download the 2 apps. Talk about those for a second. Always, always, always promote the next event. Where to book it. They can go to our Team YOLO app, which you just downloaded. Click on events. Go buy your September regional ticket right now. The fast start checklist. Also, you can find this in our app. Now, I don't talk about all the points because they're simply printed out. Again, same thing as the slides. Don't read all the slides. Just highlight a few of the most important things. The one thing that you need to do in your fast start training is you need to teach people how to invite. If they walk away, if you just sign your person up and they walk out of that room, or you allow it as the presenter, you got to tell people from the front of the room, we will learn the invitation tonight, because not knowing the invitation can derail their whole business before it gets started. Telling them don't go post anything on social media tonight, that could derail their whole business before it ever gets off the ground. And we're going to teach them, here's why we don't want to do that. Here's how we do a proper invite. Do a little role play with them if you want to. So just pick some things off the fast start checklist, but for sure, without a doubt, get them enrolled to the next event if they're going to be a representative, and also teach them how to invite. Okay, very, very important. That's what the back of the fast start checklist. Again, you can download that if you go to the Team YOLO app, click on contact info, and then scroll down to WV Docs. All the docs are there, the applications, the Get Started checklist, everything like that as well. So what we're going to do, we are officially done. Really proud of you guys for stepping up and taking so much time tonight on a Thursday. I know we're kind of right in that travel party time too. So I apologize for the timing of this in some sense, because you probably could be doing a travel party right now. But again, we might sacrifice an hour tonight and miss a couple people tonight, but long term, you're going to be more equipped to go out and build a big business and be the person, and have this business as you teach other people how to be a great presenter. This business can start to move away from you instead of having it be all about you. Okay, so that's ultimately what we want. So thanks for joining us tonight, guys. We're going to stop the recording here right now. This is officially over.